Hello, this is James Simpson. I'm talking about ESP Vision here, and the purpose of this is to try to educate people in how to use ESP Vision in a real world scenario. It's not difficult software, but there's a lot of hidden things that you need to find to be able to really use it well. So I'm hoping these tutorials will help guide people. First of all, I have to apologise for the quality of the sound. Fortunately, the microphone that I've purchased likes to be very clever and tries to modify my voice to make it more easily understandable, but instead has hidden it with lots of buzzing and added loads of bass and taken the treble out. So I'm sorry for that. Hopefully you'll still understand me so I can afford a new one. So I'm going to talk to you about Vision. This is ESP Vision, freshly installed and recently updated. This is pretty much how you expect to find it when you first turn it on. First thing to be aware of is that these toolbars here are all undockable. You can move them around. If I have a second screen, I might stick these over there to give me the largest window possible. They can be turned off by clicking on the buttons up here. And I'll go through what each of them does later. The toolbar at the very top, you get your file menu, very much as you expect to find it. You've got a couple of my shows in there at the moment. Render, if you wanted to render out a picture or a video file. We'll go through that in another tutorial. DMX. This is for selecting your DMX input, and these three here are for recording the DMX for creating your AVI files and videos. Not used very often. Might be useful if you want to try and create a video of your design. In the help menu, in case these tutorials are no good to you, you need to look at the manual. In this tutorial here, in this toolbar here, we have a selection of same sort of tools that you'd find on the top. So you've got new, open, merge, save, save as. A note on the merge, save and save as. Merging is when you want to add a Vision file into an existing Vision file. So say I've already got one open, I may insert another one into it as opposed to opening a new one. So there's a difference between those two. And saving and save as, Vision automatically saves to the Vision folder. The Vision folder is often found as a shortcut on the desktop. It's actually a shortcut to the Vision file in the programs file on the C drive, which is where all of the base DLL files are found that makes up the software that runs. So when you click save, it automatically saves it into those files, and Vision recommends using that as a set main file location. I prefer to save as. I prefer to stick it exactly where I want to put it, but you have to remember to always save as and select the file that you're going to. If you ever hit save by accident, it will save a copy to the original C drive regardless of where you've been saving it to already. So it's important to check that you've saved it as a file and not saved it to the C drive if that is not what you want to do. And if you can't find your file, maybe that's the first place to check in case you've missed it. Ignore all these. I never use them. Enabling simulation, pausing simulation is if you want to stop receiving information from the lighting desk. It never comes up, to be honest. Why would you want to turn it off? Apart from to save graphics power. This is quite a useful tool when you've got something on your end of your mouse you don't want. You just go back and click on this and you come back to the arrow that you see. Adding fixtures and adding objects. These are quite useful, obviously, because it makes up the majority of the work, but I prefer to actually add these in using one of the programs that create Vision files, such as either Vectorworks or Studio Max. I try to avoid using these because I don't like to use Vision actually to create my show files. I prefer to do them in an external program and import them in, but I will show you how to use them. Move tools, rotate and scale. This is so you can modify your set elements whilst you're in Vision. Again, there's another way of doing this inside Vision, but you may want to consider doing this in your external program so that you have continuity and it's easier to see what you're doing. Here you have some basic moving camera tools, as you'd see in a lot of 3D programs to spin yourself around. And again, repeats of the rendering pictures and movies. These toolbars here are sort of alluded to already. They turn on and off the toolbars that you may want around. And again, as you're recording the DMX. changing DMX provider, which we looked up here. So that's quite a simple toolbar, really. There's not much to be done there. The majority of the complicated stuff is actually hidden away. You tend not to see it until you need it. For instance, if you're trying to create video walls or projectors, all the tools and windows that pop up relating to those only come up when you actually insert the projector or you create a video wall. So we're going to cover those in other tutorials. I'll try not to worry about where they are for now. In order to get started, everything you need is right here. Now here we have two toolbars already open. The top here is the scene graph. I'll make it so you can see the ones underneath. At the moment there's nothing in our scene, so we don't see anything, but root is always at the top of our scene graph, and all the extra files underneath start to get created in lines. While we select root, we have access to global controls. These are things like our ambient light levels, amount of haze we have, whether or not we're looking at it in wireframe or solid view. There's lots of different tools there that you have to play with in order to get your vision file to look right. But there's nothing I can show you there until we start putting something into the file. If we open up this one here, this is the software console. Again, this is empty until we start to insert light fittings, but when we put lights in here, you'll have access to zoom controls, shutter controls. It all appears in here in a line, and I'll show you that in a moment. And here's the patch dock. Now, I don't use this very often, so I don't know a lot about it, but it's a way of creating your patch without having to do it manually, using the properties bar for each light. Now you can export this off as a file, which can be used for other programs, but I don't really know too much about it. I've never had to use it. So I'm going to create a light fitting which should demonstrate how a lot of these toolbars here work, and then in the next tutorial I'll go on to explain a bit more about scenery. So here I've clicked on my Add Instrument tool, and I've got options to select either fixtures from the entire library, which is quite large. You see it took a moment there to open. In theory, every single lighting fixture ever created should be in there. However, the list isn't exhaustive, and if you need something, the best thing to do is contact Vision. They will probably have it out to you within 8 to 10 hours. They're very quick at getting new products out. You can select it by type. Now, if you're looking for generic light fittings, what I call generic profiles, well, they aren't in here. That's music stands. You have to look in conventional, which is here. So conventional would be your source 4s and your LECOs, all your typical dimmer control lights. But you have all your moving heads hidden here in two different menus, depending on whatever Legend 5000X is in different mirror. So everything here that you ever want, all labelled by type. Often if you can't find the light you're looking for, there's something very similar. Of course, if you know what you're actually looking for, manufacturer will be the best way of looking. So I would tend to look down here if I knew onto the very light products. And there's all our very light products there, and all the different modes. So if you want to use a VL1000 arc or VL5 arc, you've got all the different modes, which you would normally select on the fixture itself. You don't change it once you've selected it. You have to choose the right one in the first place. Again, a VL1000 AS and AI, but you've got 16 extended versions or standard 8-bit versions. So you have to make those choices when you're selecting the fixture. So I'm going to put in a standard source 4, so I'm going to go to conventional. You can also find it via manufacturer if you went to ETC. ETC source 4, there we go. You've got 5 degrees, 10, 14, 19. So take a 36 degree here. Now it's possible to set my universal channel before I insert it and stick the rotation and trim height in. This is useful if you're going to put several in. You can select universe if it's different from this channel 36 on universe 7, and then when I go in and I start clicking around, they will all start to be addressed in order, so it'll be 37, 38, 39. For now I'm just going to leave this address right. Click OK, and now I've got a fixture. You can probably just see it there on the end of my mouse, and as I move around it follows me. So when I want to insert it, I just click, and there we go. So you see it's appeared here, new instrument 1008, because it's the 8th fixture I've inserted today. Now, you can see that this fixture is still following me around, and if I try to click anywhere else, it will also appear. So I accidentally just inserted two more there, which I didn't want. So I have to make sure we click back on this arrow to unselect our Add Instrument tool. But now these fixtures have all appeared here in the root. So we've got new instrument 1008, and if we click on it, it lights up to show that what we've got. So I'm clicking all of these. Now I didn't want these two, so I can delete them. I can shift and select to select two of them at once. I can select just one at a time. And if I right click on it, once I've selected them, it brings up a menu. Now this menu has various sets of commands which I'll go into in other tutorials, but the one we're looking for here is delete entire subtree. Now what this is doing is it's deleting everything hidden inside that subtree. And if I open all these arrows up, you can see just how many components are built up inside these light fittings. What we're looking at here is components that control where it is in space, components that control the material, components that control the original mesh that makes up the fixture. And of course, because it has moving parts, it has an arm, it has a tilt mechanism and a light element to it. All of these have individual sections as well, so they all get built inside this tree of information. So when we go right click delete entire subtree, I'll show you just delete. Yes, it deletes everything in that subtree. So that's the way to delete, is to right click delete entire subtree. I've got rid of two of them now. So I come back to this fixture here, and you can see as you probably noticed, when I select this fixture, my software console here lit up with a load of options that I can use. I can bring in my iris, I can bring in a shutter, change the angle of that shutter. It's very hard to see without some set to focus onto, but you get the idea. That's there to control your fixture. As the other thing you may have noticed, that when I selected the fixture, having already been in the root, set the scene graph. Underneath the scene graph is the properties menu. This changes too. So here it gives you information about your product. It says it's ETC, it's a source 4, 36 degrees. It gives you the unit number and name. So here I can actually change the name into source 4. I can give it a number. Now that relates to information actually built inside that fixture. So when we come to use it later, it might be labelled better. So I've got other information here. I can try changing the colour temperature, make it a discharge maybe, if I want to change it to a blue colour. I can invert the pan and tilt. It's a moving light, doesn't make much difference for generic. I wouldn't worry about a lot of the other things here, but two things that you may want to look at. One is the colour. At the moment the colour slot is set to white. This is 255, 255, 255, means red, green and blue is all at full. If I select on it here, I can now choose any colour I want from my selectable menu, or I can go through and actually choose a Lee colour, which has already been calibrated to be kind of the same as the real thing, but I wouldn't rely on it too heavily. Lee 86, it doesn't look terribly like the pink that I remember, but it gives you an idea at least. So you've got two options there, putting gels on top of each other if you wanted to. You only got the same thing for gobos, gobo roll 1, gobo roll 2, gobo roll 3. So you can select in here. When you go into, when you click on the gobo, it takes you into the Vision main program file. If you go into gobos, you'll find Vision has a pretty extensive stock of gobos, which are all DVS files that you can insert. However, if you want to, you can insert just any old JPEG. Make sure it's square so it comes out proportional, and you may want to just tidy up the inside to make it a proper circle. But when we insert that, you see we've now got striations and haze, so that's how we control our lights. So that's basically an overview of Vision and how all the fixtures can be inserted, how we get control of them using the software console. Where the properties menu works, you've got the root menu and you have selection via the fixture itself. and some of the toolbars at the top, which has some basic controls that we can use to grab vision and start to move it all around.